Ever get that feeling like you're walking a tightrope when it comes to social situations?
Oh, absolutely. We've all had those moments where we're not quite sure what the right thing to do is.
Especially us, right? We're not kids anymore, but the world keeps changing, and sometimes it feels like the rules of the game have changed too.
He hit the nail on the head. It's like we're all trying to decipher this secret code of social behavior.
And that's what we're diving into today. Etiquette through the ages.
Think of it like this. We're cracking open these time capsules of social anxieties and aspirations.
We've got a stack of etiquette manuals from the 16th to the 20th centuries, and let me tell you, some of this stuff is wild.
Oh, you're not kidding. It's amazing to see how much has changed, but also what stayed surprisingly consistent.
Okay, first up, we're time traveling back to 16th century Italy with Giovanni della Casa and his book Galateo.
Now, this guy was obsessed with avoiding behaviors that were considered downright offensive to the senses.
I'm talking about things that would make even the most seasoned diners squirm today.
Like, imagine you're at a fancy dinner party.
Okay, I'm picturing it. Crystal glasses, candlelight, the works.
And before you even take a bite of your own food, you lean over and sniff your neighbor's plate.
Oh no, that's a major etiquette fail, even by today's standards.
But back then, that was a big no-no, according to Della Casa. He also had strong opinions about yawning.
Yawning. What's so offensive about a yawn?
Apparently, in 16th century Italy, it was absolutely unacceptable to yawn like a wolf.
Howling like a wolf. That's hilarious. I can just imagine the awkward silence at that dinner party.
It does paint a rather vivid picture, doesn't it? But it goes to show you just how much context matters when it comes to etiquette.
What might seem outrageous to us now was simply common courtesy back then.
Right. And it makes you wonder what we're doing today that future generations will find totally bizarre.
I'm sure there are plenty of things. But even though some of Della Casa's rules seem outlandish now, there are a few we can definitely get behind.
Oh, absolutely. He was pretty adamant about not making disgusting noises while eating or spitting in public.
Okay, those are timeless pieces of advice. I think we can all agree on that one. But let's move on from the ick factor and fast forward a couple of centuries to the 18th century. We're about to meet Philip Stanhope, the 4th Earl of Chesterfield.
This guy was all about social strategy, especially for his son, who he was basically grooming to be a master of society.
He wrote this collection of letters to his son filled with advice on how to charm your way to success.
Think of it as the art of the schmooze, 18th century style.
It's fascinating, really. He emphasized things like pleasing others, reading a room, and knowing how to adapt to different social situations.
The art of conversation. Stanhope believed that being a witty conversationalist was absolutely essential.
Almost like stand-up comedy, but in powdered wigs.
Exactly. He saw conversation as a tool, an art form to be mastered for social advancement.
It sounds like he was really onto something. He was recognizing the importance of social intelligence and emotional intelligence way before those terms even existed.
He was ahead of his time in many ways, observing, adapting, mirroring the behavior of those around you. It was all about navigating social hierarchies with finesse.
From avoiding offensive smells to mastering the art of the schmooze, it's incredible how these etiquette manuals reflect the evolving values of their time.
But they also reveal these underlying anxieties, don't they?
Totally. And as we move into the 19th century, it gets even more interesting.
Buckle up, because we're entering the world of Victorian etiquette and things are about to get a lot more buttoned up.
I can't wait. Let's meet our next etiquette guru, Daisy Eyebright. I have a feeling things are about to get very proper.
Oh, you have no idea.
Spill the tea. What's in store for us with Daisy Eyebright? What were her big etiquette obsessions?
Well, her real name was actually Sophia Orne Edwards Johnson, and she truly believed that good manners were a sign of good morals.
So not just about which fork to use, but about being a good person.
Exactly. For Eyebright, it was all connected. She saw proper etiquette as a moral imperative, closely tied to Christian values.
We're talking sincerity, consideration for others, and absolutely no beastly behavior allowed.
I love that phrase, beastly behavior. It really captures that Victorian sense of decorum.
And she was very specific about those social dances.
Oh, absolutely. Those dances were like a carefully choreographed ballet of social codes.
And don't even think about sending a calling card through the mail.
Major faux pas, apparently.
It's amazing how much emphasis was placed on those seemingly small details.
But in Victorian society, those details spoke volumes about your social standing and your moral character.
It's like etiquette was a secret language, a way to signal your place in the world.
And to think, all this started with a simple desire to avoid offending others with unpleasant smells.
It really makes you wonder how our ideas about politeness and morality have shifted over time, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And as we head into the 20th century, we'll see how etiquette grapples with even more dramatic social changes. Get ready, because things are about to get really interesting.
I'm ready for it. The 20th century was a whirlwind, and I'm curious to see how etiquette tried to keep up.
Let's dive in. So the 20th century, right? What a time of upheaval. Women getting the vote, jazz music, all that.
Talk about a social shakeup. I bet those etiquette manuals had to work overtime to keep
Oh,
up.
they did. And it's fascinating to see how they tried to make sense of it all.
Lead the way. I'm ready to see what they came up with.
All right, let's picture ourselves in the 1920s. Washington, D.C. It's a city buzzing with power, ambition. You've got politicians, socialites, everyone's trying to make their mark.
Sounds like a recipe for some serious etiquette anxiety.
You bet. And it's here we meet two very different voices on the subject.
Oh, contrasting perspectives. I'm all ears.
First, we've got Edward S. Green and his book, The National Capital Code of Etiquette. Published in 1920, this was a guide written specifically for the Black middle class.
Now that's interesting. Most etiquette manuals from back then seem to be aimed at, well, a very specific segment of society.
Exactly. But Green's book recognizes a different reality. He's writing for a community facing its own set of challenges, especially in a society still grappling with segregation.
Makes you realize how important it is to consider who these etiquette guides are speaking to and what their world was like.
Absolutely. And for Green, there's this strong emphasis on respectability and social uplift, mirroring the aspirations of many Black leaders at the time.
I can imagine. To navigate those social spaces, to demand respect in a system designed to deny it, it must have taken incredible strength and determination.
It really speaks to the power of etiquette to create a sense of community and belonging, even when the odds are stacked against you.
Okay, so that's Edward S. Green. Now, you mentioned contrasting voices. Who else is in the mix?
Well, in that same year, 1920, Emily Post publishes her landmark book, Etiquette in Society, in business, in politics, and at home.
Emily Post. Even today, her name is like etiquette shorthand. She really set the standard, didn't she?
She did. And her book really captures a society in transition. She tackles all these big changes, women's roles, the rise of a new wealthy elite, even how to use that newfangled invention, the telephone.
I love how she even included diagrams for envelopes,
Yeah.
to illustrate good and bad taste in correspondence.
Those little details really bring her world to life, don't they? And they make you realize how much importance was placed on getting those little things right.
So we have Green, writing for a Black audience navigating a segregated society, and Post, offering guidance to a largely white, middle and upper class readership grappling with rapid social change. It's almost like they're looking at two different sides of the same coin.
It is. Both Green and Post, each in their own way, are trying to make sense of a rapidly changing world.
It reminds us that etiquette isn't just about stuffy rules. It's a reflection of the hopes, the anxieties, the very fabric of a society.
Right. And sometimes it's about pushing back against those old rules, about challenging the status quo. And that brings us to our next etiquette trailblazer, Lillian Eichler.
Oh, tell me about her. I always love a good rule breaker. What made her stand out?
Think of her as the anti-Emily Post. She published her book of etiquette in 1921, just a year before Post's, and it was a smash hit.
What was her secret? How did she capture the public's imagination?
Well, Eichler had a knack for making good manners feel less like a chore and more like, well, just being a decent human being. She believed that etiquette shouldn't be about putting on airs. One of her famous quotes is, "Success without culture is like old-fashioned strawberry shortcake without whipped cream. It has no flavor."
Okay, that's a great analogy, and so true. Good manners should enhance life, not complicate it.
Exactly. And she wasn't afraid to poke fun at the whole etiquette establishment. One of her most famous ads asked, "Are you haunted by the ghosts of your social mistakes?"
Huh. I love it. We've all been there, right? Cringing at that awkward thing we said or did. Eichler just made it okay to be human.
Exactly. She had this knack for tapping into those universal experiences. It wasn't about being perfect. It was about trying your best, being considerate, and not taking yourself too seriously.
Sounds like a breath of fresh air in a world that could be pretty stuffy and judgmental.
She was definitely a modern woman, ahead of her time in many ways. But she didn't advocate for throwing out all the traditional rules.
So how did she balance that more relaxed approach with the realities of the time? Social hierarchies were still very much a thing.
She believed that etiquette could evolve, that it could adapt to the needs of a changing world. For example, she recognized that more and more women were entering the workforce, so she offered guidance on navigating those professional settings.
It wasn't about scrapping the system, but about making it work for everyone.
Precisely. And that's a message that's still relevant today, isn't it? As we try to figure out how to be decent human beings in a world that's constantly changing.
Totally. So, from avoiding beastly behavior to embracing a more relaxed approach to good manners, we've seen quite an evolution in etiquette.
And we've just scratched the surface. These etiquette manuals, they're not just about rules. They're like windows into different worlds, different ways of thinking about social behavior and human connection.
It's amazing how much we can learn about ourselves by looking back at how people navigated their social worlds.
And sometimes those historical detours can lead to some truly surprising discoveries. But that's a story for another time. You know how we were talking about those etiquette rule breakers? The ones who challenged the norms?
Oh yeah, like Lillian Eichler, shaking things up with her fresh perspective.
Exactly. Well, get this. Our next stop takes us out of the world of dining rooms and social graces and into the realm of scientific discovery.
Okay, a little plot twist. I'm intrigued. Where are we headed?
To the early 20th century to meet a remarkable woman named Alice Augusta Ball.
Alice Augusta Ball. That name doesn't ring a bell. Fill me in.
Well, she was a brilliant chemist, a true trailblazer. And get this, she made a groundbreaking discovery in the treatment of Hansen's disease.
Hansen's disease, you mean leprosy?
That's right. Now, I know this might seem like a bit of a leap from etiquette manuals, but stick with me. There's a fascinating connection here.
Okay, I'm all ears. Lay it on me.
Alice Ball's story is all about breaking barriers, overcoming prejudice, much like the etiquette rebels we've been discussing. Challenging the status quo, making a real difference in the world.
Ah, I see where you're going with this. So tell me more about her breakthrough. What made her work so significant?
Well, first of all, she was the first woman and the first African American to earn a master's degree in chemistry from the College of Hawaii, which later became the University of Hawaii.
Wow, that's impressive. Especially back then, she must have faced some serious hurdles.
Oh, absolutely. But she persevered. And while she was working as a chemistry instructor there, she was approached by Dr. Harry T. Holman. He was desperately searching for an effective treatment for Hansen's disease.
Leprosy had such a stigma attached to it, even to the 20th century.
You're right. It was a disease shrouded in fear and misunderstanding. And at the time, the best they had was Chomagura oil. It showed some promise, but it was a nightmare to administer. Thick, sticky, caused all sorts of nasty side effects.
So finding a way to make that oil actually usable would have been a huge breakthrough.
And that's exactly what Alice Ball did. She developed this ingenious technique to isolate the active ingredients of the oil, making it possible to create an injectable form.
Wow, that's incredible. Her work must have helped so many people.
It did. But sadly, her story takes a tragic turn. She died very young, at only 24, likely due to a lab accident.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. To achieve so much only to have her life cut short like that.
And to make matters worse, initially she didn't even get credit for her work. It was attributed to others. It took decades for her contributions to be fully recognized.
What a shame. It's a reminder of how often women and people of color have been overlooked, their achievements erased from history.
Thankfully, Alice Ball's story hasn't been forgotten. The University of Hawaii has honored her legacy, and her work continues to inspire scientists today.
It's a good reminder that progress isn't always a straight line. There are detours, setbacks, and sometimes a long fight for recognition.
But in the end, the truth has a way of coming out. Those who deserve to be remembered find their rightful place in history.
It's amazing how these stories all connect, even across different fields. From etiquette to scientific discovery, it's all about pushing boundaries, challenging conventions, and ultimately making the world a better place.
It's all part of the human story, isn't it? This constant striving for connection, for understanding, for progress.
It's a reminder that even something as seemingly simple as good manners can be a force for positive change.
So the next time you're agonizing over which fork to use, remember that you're part of this long, fascinating history of social evolution.
And who knows? Maybe you'll stumble upon an unexpected connection, a hidden story that will change the way you see the world.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive into etiquette through the ages.
Keep those manners sharp, folks, and until next time, keep exploring. You never know what you might discover.